Hello, everyone. As I know, I'm Arpi, Karapetyan, and today I'm going to tell you a story about the choice between the lemon and the lemonade, or how to find your role in this difficult world. And everything will be based on Robert Dilts' logical levels. So let's count the environment first, the bottom level, what's going on in our life. Once upon a time, the world has changed. And when exactly it happened, we will never know. But we used to connect it with COVID-19. And we see industries changing their course and rethinking their supply chains, which is something that they have to do to overcome the challenges of nowadays. At the same time, we see the remote work and people, a big migration to the online channels, and we speak about virtual labor markets. There are a lot of things going on, including the shortage in the talent, because a lot of people in different parts of the world state that there is a big unemployment rate, but still the talent shortage is a problem. And we speak about technology advancement, which is like we don't speak, we leave this technology advancement, to be honest, and we start to overcome it. And the next question is what we do as the leaders to overcome whatever is going on in the world. And of course, we leaders are the heroes. We believe in that. But to do something, we have to correlate our actions to the trends. And those trends are wellness programs, because we have to take care of our employees' social, financial, psychological, and physical health. And this is the trend. And streamlining operations with artificial intelligence. And I will say that the motto of nowadays is that leaders, let's keep it simple. And communication technologies, because we have to think what to communicate and how to communicate and when to communicate, because everything has been changed and we have to adapt to it. Of course, remote work, because in remote, it's a different technology and you have to speak to your employees and those that you are leading in the way that was different from the era that it was before the COVID. And of course, we speak about differentiating of training and development technologies. The next question, if we dig deeper, is what skills and knowledge we should have as leaders to somehow face these trends and to live in this environment. So the skills that come to my mind is big data, that we have to know big data, digital proficiency, and ChatGPT, which is our friend, and thanks to everyone, we are speaking about this, and this is our assistant in nowadays. Psychology, because people are in stress and you have to know what to say and how to say. PR and communication technologies, which are very different, and we have to correlate our actions based on this. Anthropology and culturology, because business is intercultural, so you have to know what you are doing. Agility and change management. And my favorite one, the storytelling and gamification, to really speak with different generations. So storytelling and gamification tools to apply to employees and those that you lead. And then I go further. Why we are doing this and what is important for us. Of course, there are a lot of values, but the main question is to what extent our personal values correlate to the values of the company that we serve. And this is the biggest question for me. And the last one, then what is the role that we play? Are we a change maker? Maybe we are. I'm not sure. Or maybe you are something else, because the question, who am I, is the most important one. Are we integrator? Are we strategic planner? Because we're leading the company, so we have to know strategy. Or maybe we're something else, like, I don't know, mommy, daddy, sister of the employees, or counselor, or mediator. And maybe I will do here a little pause because I really want you to think who you are. The main question to correlate you to the values, have the skills and trends, and lived in this environment is that we can't play all the roles. We have to stick to one as a cornerstone of our identity and then build the other roles around it to feel ourselves fulfilled. So this is the question to you. Do you like what you are doing? Do you like your role? If you like it, then you are good. And if you don't like it, then my next question will be what you want to become. And the thing is, we have a lemon and we have a lemonade. So let's make a lemonade and find our role. Thank you so much.
Okay, hello everyone. My name is Armine, and today I'll be talking about the power of personal stories. You will see how personal narratives transform businesses, forging deeper connection with audiences. Today, authenticity is one of the most important things in marketing, and to be authentic, we have to be able to tell personal stories. Brand empowerment, we live in an economy of attention where brand empowerment is the only strategy for success and longevity. It is about building strong and positive perception of your company's brand. One of the most effective ways to achieve this is through integration of personal stories in your brand communication. And brand empowerment is more than just marketing. It's about creating narrative that resonates with people on a personal level. It installs sense of confidence into your brand, make it in more than just a logo or a product, which gives trust, and it turns your customers into loyal advocates of your brand. Personal stories in the strategy of brand empowerment is a powerful tool. They are narratives that share the experiences, challenges, and triumphs of people related to brand, be it founders, employees, or customers. These stories add a human touch to the brand, making it more relatable and trustworthy. The journey of a brand often begins with founders' vision and challenges. So sharing the founder's story, including the past obstacles, milestones achieved, can be very inspiring. It helps to build a narrative about the qualities that are admired and sought after by customers, changing and improving the perception of the brand. Employees are the backbone of any business. So when you share their stories detailing their experiences and growth within the company, what you do, you actually share brand values and culture, positioning it as a nurturing and positive workplace, enhancing its image to both current and potential customers. Customer stories are perhaps the most impactful. They provide a direct insight into how the brand, product, or services have affected their lives. Positive experiences shared by real customers serve as powerful endorsement, enhancing the brand credibility and appeal. In a world saturated with advertising, consumers often seek authenticity, and this is predicted to be one of the most important trends for at least the next 5 years. Personal stories being genuine and relatable build trust and credibility. They demonstrate that the brand is not only about profit and sales, but it is also invested in genuine experiences and relationships. It's been proved millions of times when people find connection with brand story, they are more likely to develop sense of loyalty and belonging. And this emotional connection means that they are more likely to return, make repeat purchases, and recommend the brand to others. In the economy of attention, standing out is the key. And there is nothing more unique than your personal stories, your struggles, and your triumph. When you create link between your personal stories and the brand, you actually carve out a distinct identity of the brand in the mind of customers. Engaging stories is what capture attention and stimulate interest. When you effectively communicate the value and the impact of your brand through personal stories, personal narratives, what you do, you actually become a trigger for your target audience, and they want to be either like you or do the things that you do. So this increased engagement also increases revenue. This strategy of using personal stories for the brand empowerment has been used for many companies, from startups to global giants. And here I want to share some of notable examples that I'm sure you are very well aware of. And the first example is Steve Jobs. And we all know that Apple's identity is, Apple's brand is very much influenced by Steve Jobs' personality. His journey starting Apple in garage, then being ousted from the company, and his return to turn company one of the most important, valuable companies in the world is legendary. So Nike uses stories of athletes very well to empower its brand. Their campaigns very often feature stories of resilience and triumphs of very different athletes, from very famous ones like Michael Jordan and Serena Williams to lesser knowns overcoming their personal challenges. Richard Branson's adventurous and non-traditional approach to business affected the brand a lot. His personal stories about risk-taking and circumnavigating the globe in hot air balloon position brand as fun, daring, and adventurous. That's Real Beauty campaign shifted focus from product to stories of real women of different sizes, shapes, and ethnicities, at the same time challenging conventional norms of beauty. By promoting self-acceptance, they actually created stronger bond with their target audience. Airbnb uses personal stories of their hosts and guests from all over the world to create a sense of connection and trust around the brand, highlighting and sharing genuine and authentic experiences from all over the world. And Airbnb not only promotes their services, but also create brands about cultural exchange and global community. Elon Musk, with his personal approach to addressing climate changes through innovative technologies, like electric cars and solar energy, is actually his vision aligns with mission of the brand a lot, and he is the face of the brand. So this strategy of empowering brand through personal stories actually transcends traditional marketing, because it's about creating narratives that promote not only product and services, but also create stories about people beyond and around the brand. And these stories become testament of your brand's journey, values, and impact on community. So in business landscape where everyone seeks for authenticity and connection, using personal stories is not just an option or a tool. It's a necessity for creating strong, long-lasting, successful, and impactful brand. And thank you so much.
Hello, everyone. I'm Julya from Armenia, and today we're going to talk about the decision making. And the idea behind of choosing this topic is because me personally, I struggle a lot with decision making, and I started to explore more this topic, how to make our decisions more effective, how it influences in general our life. So I'm not an expert on this topic, but I've started to explore this very much recently, and I'm very much influenced by Kahneman's book on thinking fast and slow. And a lot of ideas today I'm going to share with you is from this book. And what is decision making? We have struggling with decision making every day, even from the early morning. We put our alarm on and we choose to snooze it for like 10 minutes later, or we just choose to have a coffee early in the morning or to have tea. It's about having breakfast or just leaving to the office. These are the decisions that we are making on a daily basis, but these are not the minor decisions that we are taking every day. We also struggle with different types of other bigger decisions that we have to do and carry on in our professional and family lives. For instance, we go to the office, we decide how we start our work and what shall we do for the morning, and how we're going to proceed with the report, what to approve and what to disapprove. So this is basically how we build our day in professional and non-professional lives. This decision-making fatigue and struggle brings us to the point that we need to understand how we should make our decisions better, and how we should optimize, and how we should apply different tools to have our decisions better. So yeah, I think this is just a quote from the movie, where just a simple Starbucks coffee choosing scene shows that even for coffee choosing, we have to make different decisions for just 1 minute, like we want coffee with sugar, with the milk, etc. But coming to the more professional level, we have more of strategic decisions, tactical, operational, and other. For strategic decisions, we don't do them like on everyday basis, like every 5 minutes or every hour, etc. We do for a longer term perspective. For tactical decision, it's more of shorter period and on a daily basis. We also have like programmed and non-programmed decision. It's like we do automated decisions. We don't think about like putting a gas or putting on stop, etc. But we have non-programmed decision. It's during the crisis time. We don't have ready decisions, for instance, during the COVID, etc. And besides this, we are also influenced by factors, different internal and external factors that on a daily routine, we don't think about them, that our decisions are affected by our emotions, memories, cognitive biases, or pick and rules. And like, for instance, we don't know that sometimes we make decisions because of confirmation bias, because of framing effect, or authority bias, etc. But these are the factors that we are influenced. We are also influenced by our culture, our history, our family, friends, the context that we are living in. These are all the factors that we are being influenced, and we are more likely to believe things that are easy to understand, even if they are not true. So this is decision-making environment we are dealing with, but still we don't have much time to explore how all this together are changing our lives. And as already mentioned, there are different types of decision-making categories, but I will be sticking to two main types of decision making. It's the system 1 decision making and system 2 decision making, and this is all happening in our mind, but there are two types of different systems. The system 1 is more of fast decision making, more on emotions, more of intuitions. So we don't put much of efforts in thinking, in analyzing, in discussing, etc. It just comes and we decide to do something. We decide to eat ice cream, not like cake, etc. So this doesn't consume a lot of our energy, but it has its own risks. And for the decision making of system 2, it's more of complicated. We should go step by step. We should analyze. We should think. And it takes a lot of time and energy and efforts, and sometimes it consumes. That's why we always struggle between like system 1 and system 2. And sometimes we even mix. We put a lot of efforts in one thing that doesn't need so much of thinking. And here comes the mixed decision making that other researchers say that there is no pure like thinking very fast or thinking very slow. There should be like mix. It's a mix of emotion and logic. You cannot put only emotion in your decision making or only logic in decision making. But all this brings us to many daily issues of decision making that we face. Overthinking. We can put a lot of efforts of thinking what to eat in a day, and we can very easily and very fastly decide shall we buy this apartment or no. And sometimes because of a lot of information, we are coming to decision fatigue. And these all types, small and big decisions we are confused with, are making us more of in fatigue situation, disappointment, and sometimes we even cannot prioritize in which kind of decisions we should put our efforts. in a daily basis making like hundreds of decisions. We are confused and we are exhausted, and we are receiving a lot of marketing information, what to buy, what to wear, whom to fire in the office, who should be promoted, where should we go, etc. So we are in a decision-making chaos. So the idea of my presentation finally is to understand how to make our decisions more improved. And here comes the creativity in decision making. We should make our decision making process more creative and enjoyable. So it's not take our energy, our motivation. The best way to improve our thinking is to be aware of our own biases. So we are human beings. We are not going to get rid of our biases, but understanding our own biases and working with them and realizing how much our biases are impacting our decisions is very important. And we should realize that we cannot make decisions without our biases. And critical thinking is another very well working technique to apply when we are doing decisions, analyzing, discovering, talking to people, checking the information, doing a lot of homework. So it's exhausting, but we cannot do decision making in very fast. And also there are some of more of technical models that can help our decisions to be more of effective, fast, etc. So it's more of decision-making tree. It can show what are the options for each decision, cost-benefit analysis, establishing pros and cons, and point systems, different techniques that we can apply to measure the effectiveness of the decision-making. So in general, what my presentation is about, we should learn to make decision-making, to do the decision-making. At schools, at the universities, we are not taught about how we do conduct our decisions. So we should start learning it. That's it.
Okay, thank you very much. So I have my personal story related to the change management. I started to explore the topic of the human side of change management a few years ago when I was asked during the job interview about the topic, and I actually couldn't answer. So that led me to my journey towards this topic, which I will present now. Today, we know that the world is very unstable, and that's why it's very important to understand why is it so important, the change management. It's been around for 100 years, and it's about changing from the current situation to a better future. Many sources rely on John Kotler's model, which consists of 8 steps, starting from establishing a feeling of urgency towards change, to developing strategy, communicating your vision, and empowering employees to take action towards your change. Another model is Kubler-Ross's model, which actually looks to the change management from the emotional perspective. This model helps us to prepare to deal with our emotional reaction to the change that the company organization offers. And it's not always as linear as you can see in this slide. So in order to lead the change more effectively, it's important to consider the 4 V's. Always be present and interested in your employees. Recognize the diverse reaction that your employees can have based on their characters. Create opportunities for them to express themselves and express gratitude when they do something good. We as leaders also should update to the employees what is being changed actually in the organization and what is not being changed, what is certain, what is not certain. And we should try to engage with our team and try to make them understand how important they are to stay in our company. And also, what is very important in the change management process is to show a positive attitude and constantly inform the management about how the change actually affects our staff so that the management can make well-informed decisions on the ongoing changes. It is also important to never ever hide information from your staff, employees, because they need all the information to make realistic assessments and plan for their future. So share whatever information you have, even if it's not complete. This will also create trust between you and your employee. And as much as it is good to be positive, it is important not to be overly positive, like this character you might know, Pollyanna. You should be more realistic and stay connected with your team and make them feel that they can reach out to you whenever they want to. Also, avoid supporting the resistance during this change process. For example, taking actions such as protecting employees from the results of their actions, failures, covering up, doing someone's work instead of them, and somehow not informing them that they are not meeting the expectations. It is also important to somehow divide the change into two categories, human and technical. The human side includes whatever actually affects people. So this is where you make sure that there is an understanding and acceptance from the side of the employees. Why the human side is important in change management? It's because change management is not just about logistical or physical aspects of change. It is very much connected to the human experience with the company. So ignoring human factors can actually lead to failure to a company. And this happens a lot. Many change projects fail because leaders focus on the logistical aspects, functional aspects, and they actually reject the human side of it. And leaders actually skip the employee buy-in. Employers need to understand why there is a need to change, and they should participate in it. Some leaders actually send an email informing that, you know, this or that change is going to happen. For your information, best regards, and that's all, which actually doesn't provide employee to get engaged in the change, does not motivate them, because employees have different drivers. And this is actually a very good perfect 4 model to create a communication plan based on the Jungian psychology of 4 primary colors, whether you are extrovert, introvert, ambivert, taking consideration employees' characters. And in order for the change to happen successfully at the company and team level, everyone's preferences should be presented on that wheel, which also enables cooperation between team members who actually could be divided previously. So what is also important is the change mindset, which leads to change management, and it's not the opposite. And for the effective change management, you should address individual fears and anxieties. And managing change actually very much depends on managing our own fears and anxieties during this time. So to understand the importance of considering the human side of change, it is also useful to take an example, let's say an unsuccessful project, and create a list of technical and human factors that the project was actually unsuccessful. So you will see the result that most of the part, it's because of the human factor that we fail. And you might also know the metaphor of an elephant, which represents our emotional side. When it comes to change, the elephant is often, very often, resistant to new things. So in order to successfully change, to succeed in your change management, you should actually address the emotional side of the people and employees. And I leave here the name of an organization. Of course, there are plenty of organizations with whom you can consult to understand better the topic, but this is one of the organizations that in reality helped me to delve into this topic. Probably that's all.
All right, so thank you for connecting. We really suck at communication. And this is very, unusual, unexpected, and disappointing, because our main function is, from the day that we are born, is to communicate, to speak. Our language even evolved as a way of gossiping, according to Yuval Noah Harari. He said that we wanted to gossip and share our emotions, our thinking, our thoughts so much that we even invented language and perfected it. And we used different metaphors, etc., but we still are so bad at communication. This is becoming a very, urgent, actual problem, because by 2025, millennials will make up half of the workforce, and still at the same time, 4 or 5 generations will be working next to each other. Those generations, traditionalists, boomers, Gen Xers, millennials, and Gen 2020, and now soon also Generation Alpha, they have different preferences in communication. Boomers, they like calling, my parents, for example. Emails are more Gen Xers and, others, the Zoomers and the people nowadays are also texting each other multiple times, using the voice messages, etc. At the same time, I mean, these generational differences are there, but we also have to understand the channels of communication. So you see all the benefits here on the slides of online communication and offline communication. Now, what I want us to do with all the offline things like body language, etc., in the online, we learned something very important. Clear, concise, well-structured interaction becomes vital. We have to be respectful to each other's time. Also, we have to understand that in communication, and why I say that love will change, will save communication, empathy and emotional intelligence in a larger sense of the word are really very important. Now, the moment that we realize that we have to love and respect the other person's time, our communication improves. The emotional quotient includes, as we all probably know and or heard in somehow, 5 stages. And the first one is self-awareness. We also have to self-regulate. We have to empathize with the other, feel whatever they feel. We have to self-motivate and develop our social skills. The other quotient that helps us in communication is adaptability quotient. And for becoming more adaptable, we have to play what-if scenarios in our head. We have to unlearn what's not actual, and we have to explore versus exploiting or milking the cow that is bringing us money. And the next quotient is very important, the cultural quotient. What affects efficiency of our communication is how well we understand the cultures that we are communicating with. Hofstede has given us the paints with which we can paint different cultures. For example, the power distance, there are nations with high power distance and low power distance. Basically, it's how much we make importance for equality, or we accept the priority of somebody who's in charge, the power. And here are the countries that have high or low power distance. The other dimension that Hofstede uses is individualism versus collectivism. There are individualistic cultures where preference to loosely knit social frameworks is there, and we have collectivist cultures, tightly knit frameworks in the society. Asian countries are there. What's interesting is that the business models, the communication styles, the decision-making is different in, for example, masculine or feminine cultures, which is the next third dimension that Hofstede suggests. Masculine cultures are more for heroism, are for success, etc. Feminine cultures are more flexible, are more subtle, are more service-oriented. We have cultures that have uncertainty avoidance, high or low. Armenians, for example, we are okay with driving with summer tires because, God knows what will happen. Even our language determines or can show if we are what type of a culture we are. The next one is long-term orientation versus short-term orientation. And you can see, for example, in German cultures, there are breweries that have been established in 1882. Short-term cultures, at the same time, they value immediate rewards. So betting industry is developed in short-term oriented cultures. Finally, we have indulgence versus restraint. That's another dimension that Hofstede suggests. Are we celebrating a lot, or are we saving and we are kind of keeping it to ourselves? Cultures that have high resistance, they have saving rates that are high too. So understanding all of these dimensions, adaptability, emotional quotient, and cultural, are very important. So what we need to do to improve our communication is, first of all, to think generations. What generation are we talking too. What are their preferences? And we have to tailor our communication to the generation. Also, we have to think communication channels, which means depending on if we're online or offline, we have to adjust our speaking, our pace, clearness, and conciseness. By the way, it's important in both channels, we have to pay extra attention to. And finally, we have to think cultures. We have to be empathetic and adaptive in communication with anyone, with any communication channel, but also we have to adjust the cultural, cultural component to our communication. So we can perfectly craft our verbal, non-verbal, or written communication, but if we forget about cultures, it will fail drastically. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you for the introduction. I was going to say all these things, and I'm a lawyer and certified mediator, and I do love the arts, and I wanted to share today about mediation with you using my passion and hobby, visual arts. And here is Michelangelo's creation of Adam that shows what we are only seconds away from the spark of your interest towards mediation. Mediation is regarded as an alternative way of dispute resolution. As you know, people mainly use national courts or arbitration to resolve their disputes. Likewise, here, Raphael shows Aristotle and Plato's philosophies as central, and all other philosophical movements like Stoics, Epicureans, Skeptics as additional. But I thought it's crucial for CELA community members to understand mediation, as it can help you resolve conflicts better in an amicable way and leaving both parties happy, just like in Veronese's wedding at Cana, where you see a wonderful celebration of love. Mediation differs from court or arbitration because it avoids a single person, like a judge or an arbitrator, deciding the outcome for conflicting parties. Such man is represented here by the sculpture of Moses. I think one outsider person deciding what's best for conflicting parties represents a rather patronizing approach. It's insulting even. Aggressive litigation is all about fighting till the last drop of blood, where each party uses its own strengths and opposing parties' weaknesses in order to win over. You can see here Judas slaying Holofernes as a representation of how the parties in litigation often dream to resolve their conflict. Let's recall the oranges and peels exercise from the CELA Academy, a scenario where two conflicting parties sought oranges, but for their own critical reasons. On one hand, to save the children of a whole continent, and on the other, to prevent an ecological catastrophe on Earth. So like in a Kazakh national game of Kokpar, each side fights for its own goal. However, later, we find out that one side needed the orange pulp, whereas the other needed the orange peels. And only open communication could reveal that both sides could easily achieve their objectives by using the oranges together, and thus achieve Saint Teresa's ecstasy that you see here. This CELA exercise is a perfect representation of how mediation would help parties achieve a win-win through open and constructive communication. You can see the beautiful Artemisia Gentileschi here is playing the lute and creating harmony, very much like a mediator would. Unlike our almighty and all-deciding judge, remember the Moses from previous slides, the mediator remains neutral. He or she refrains from making any decisions in the conflict, is equidistant from both parties, and facilitates effective communication and collaborative approach, enabling parties to reach a mutually acceptable resolution. I think it might be especially useful for our community to have a close look, like this boy here, at mediation, because I believe CELA is a community of people possessing a certain set of values that is very much in sync with mediation values. I will set out the mediation values and principles for you. Neutrality and impartiality. Mediators aim for neutrality, they avoid favoritism or prejudice in disputes. This fosters trust, ensures fair treatment, and contributes to a balanced process. Here, the Birth of Venus by Botticelli serves as a metaphorical representation of the desired equilibrium and harmony sought in mediation processes. Second, confidentiality. The mediation process typically involves private discussions between the mediator and each party. Confidentiality helps create a safe space for open and honest communication without fear of repercussions. This lady from a 2,000-year-old fresco confirms the mediator will keep your secrets safe. Voluntariness, which means both parties should want to mediate. Empowerment and self-determination, which means mediation lets parties actively resolve their differences, finding their own solutions. Parties should be as determined as Michelangelo's David, who is about to defeat Goliath in a few seconds. Communication, like we said before, open communication is key. Flexibility. As we enjoy looking at a beautiful and flexible male sculpture, we should remember that mediation offers flexibility in the process and solutions, fit for unique dispute dynamics. Fairness. Mediators try to ensure a fair and equitable process where parties understand each other's viewpoints. You can see even Hercules, known more for his physical power rather than his wit, is taking a moment to sit down and understand the offers he's getting before making a decision. Efficiency. Mediation can save time and resources for all parties involved because it is often quicker and less formal than traditional legal processes like courts. Efficiency is well represented by Piero della Francesca's ideal city, depicting geometric precision of a clutter-free, well-organized and planned urban environment. The primary thing mitigation requires is your ability to turn off your lizard brain, the part that's responsible for your fight or flight response. You would need to switch to your prefrontal cortex. That's a part that allows you to think rationally and make well thought out decisions. Nike represented a headless approach to a flight reaction. For a responsible and relation-conscious approach to conflict, choose mediation. It leads to a win-win with fewer resources required. Instead of a story about brutal litigation you could be in the middle of, you will have a positive story about having resolved a difficult situation and learning from it, like that picture up there. This last painting shows the Holy Family, Joseph, Mary, and infant Jesus. Their placement at the core of the composition creates a sense of unity and togetherness, and the circular format of the painting, as well as another circle created by their hands, further emphasizes the idea of continuity and harmony. I use this image to relay that mediation also has a great potential in fostering personal and mutual growth of parties as they go through this process. As a result of successful mediations, both parties come to appreciate their mutual relations more deeply and have more trust and consideration for each other as they move forward past this dispute. Thank you.